Hello, everybody. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you tapping in. Happy to have everybody on board today. Let me make some quick adjustments. All right. It is Saturday morning, and you know it's about a little after 9 a.m. So you know what that means. You know exactly what time it is. It is Coach Steele, and I'm here with Coach Steele's Finance Training. And of course, you already know with Coach Steele's Finance Training, you can find me live 9 a.m. Saturday mornings on YouTube. Of course, Coach Steele's Finance Training on YouTube, or you can tune in on Facebook under my name, Simon Steele. And of course, I'm definitely happy to be here on this morning once again to have that conversation about financial literacy. And of course, uh, I want you all to participate, dive into this conversation, enjoy this conversation with me today. We're talking about Excel sheet budgeting strategies. Now, of course, for some people, that may be like dinosaur mode, but it's nothing wrong with pulling out an old Excel sheet with some good formulas in it and doing some math. So definitely good morning to you. It is Coach Steele with Coach Steele's Finance Training. I am the financial voice of the people. And so if you don't know why, then you probably need to go ask somebody. So anyway, happy to be here and very humbled to be able to share this information with the team. Of course, Coach Steele, we all are a team and we are a community of people. So we're going to huddle up on this morning and discuss budgeting once again. Of course, anytime you listen to me, I'm always going to be the backbone of my conversation is going to be budgeting. Why is it going to be about budgeting and understanding the basics of financial literacy? Because it is going to be the not only the backboard but the springboard that takes you to where you need to be. One of the things that really helped me find financial success and be able to find financial peace of mind was mastering my budget. Being able to master my budget allowed me to venture off. It's almost like the budget is the roots and the base of your plant or your tree, which allows you to create new branches and venture off and grow even more. So we got to get the foundation right. And the foundation, good soil, good roots, the base is that budget that everything else grows out of. And so I'm going to show you another strategy that I used over the years to help me get to where I want to be. If you're tuning in this morning, then definitely give me a good morning or throw some type of emoji out there. That way I know who I'm talking to on this morning and I can talk directly to you. So definitely appreciate everybody tuning in. So I hope you all are ready to find why Excel sheets can really help you improve your budget and give you some flexibility, especially if you have the right Excel sheet. And I'm going to share my screen a few minutes after we talk about some the principles and the importance of budgeting. I'm going to share my screen so you can see one of the sheets that I use. And of course, I do have my email address running on the caption. And of course, if you do want a copy of the Excel sheet that I use, then just shoot me an email and I'll email you a copy of it as well. So keep that in mind as we go through this, and I'll mention that again later. But my email address is there, and you can shoot me an email. So when you do see the Excel sheet, if you say, hey, you know what, that's something that I think that I want, I wouldn't mind having, trying out, shoot me that email and I'll get it to you. So on today, Coach Steele's Finance Training, the financial voice of the people. Make sure, if you haven't already, that you subscribe. Subscribe. We are running it up. I'm excited. Last month, I think I was at about 100 and something subscribers. Right now, team community, we are at like 258. And so we have went up by like 100 subscribers in about a month's time frame, maybe a month and a half. And so who knows? By the end of August, maybe we'll be at 300 people total. And so we're going to continue to grow and we're going to run it up. So definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Even if you tune in on Facebook, make sure you go subscribe on the YouTube channel as well. And so this morning, whether you are eating breakfast, and I believe Shauna is tuning in. Good morning to you, Shauna. If you are tuning in, Shauna Johnson, and anyone else who's tuning in, definitely happy to have you on this morning. We're talking about Excel sheet budgeting strategies, and I'm going to share an Excel sheet with you. So whether you're having breakfast this morning or whether you're just laying in bed and you see Coach Steele is going live, leave it on. Stay tuned in. Go to YouTube if you want and watch on YouTube. I have the YouTube chat open. I have the Facebook comment section open. So feel free to tell me good morning. I want to tell you good morning back personally, and I appreciate you tuning in. If you're cleaning up, hey, put it on YouTube, Facebook. Put your whether you put it on the smart TV or whether you put your Bluetooth in your ears, stay tapped in and listen in as we go over this stuff. So don't want to stop you from what you're doing. If you're driving, just listen while you drive. So when we talk about budgeting, the importance of budgeting, it is so key. Like I told you, this is how you're going to get to those other places. So many people want to accomplish their goals. They have all type of goals they want to accomplish. They want to be prepared for retirement. And remember, in our community, the term retirement is probably different from what the average person would think of when we say retirement. Some people just want to build up their savings account. Some people want to have an emergency fund, and they're tired of living paycheck to paycheck. They're tired of struggling. Some people want to switch the job that they are at, and they are not happy with the current job they are at, and they're not happy with the current pay, and they would love the flexibility to transition to another job, but they don't quite have the flexibility to just uproot and go to the next thing. Well, guess what? Part of the way that you're going to be able to do that and give yourself flexibility is being able to set up a budget. And that's why I'm going to share this Excel sheet budgeting strategies today so that you can see how to use an Excel sheet to your advantage, and not just any sheet that allows you to write it down, but it'll keep up with your averages. You won't have to delete and erase it every single month, but it will keep January through December. Now, some people do prefer to use apps and do things on their phone. Some people don't want to put all their information on a phone. They may not want to use an app, and it may be too complicated. So I'm going to hit everyone where they are, and I'm going to start with some people that like pulling up their laptop or their device and using an Excel sheet and writing down their numbers as well. So you can do either or, whether it's an app or whether it's this Excel sheet that we will go over today. So you want to be able to accomplish your goals, and you're going to do that through being able to budget. Like some people will have their budget in their head. And like I always tell you, you have to get your budget from up here and put it on here. We got to be able to look at it and see it. And it makes a huge difference on the financial decisions that you make, because a lot of us, because we refuse to set a budget, guess what we're doing? We are throwing away money. We're throwing money away because we refuse. We're stubborn. We're hard-headed. We're set in our ways, bad habits. I know what my money is. I know how much I spend. And so because of that mentality, we throw money away and we don't know it. We really don't understand how much money we throw away every month, every week, because we refuse to learn and master our budget. Yes, I said master your budget. It is possible to master your budget, to master your finances, to take your financial situation and take it to another level because you have mastered your budget. Because it's one thing that, see, just understanding where your money is going is one part of it. But then learning how to master it, to not only learn where your money is going, but how to make adjustments. Of course, Coach Steele's finance training, we're a team. And when we huddle up, guess what? We make adjustments. We make financial adjustments. And so you want to learn how to make financial adjustments and how to adjust your budget to be able to accomplish those goals that you want to accomplish. How many people here have goals that they want to accomplish financially? If you have goals that you want to or you need to accomplish financially, just put me in the chat. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, in the comment section, put me. And of course, if you want to, you can share your goals that you have. What goals are they that you want to accomplish? And so, as we continue to move forward, I want to help you accomplish your goals, but it is difficult to do that if you do not budget. There are so many people that I deal with throughout the week that they want to accomplish their goals, but the first thing they always have to do is we got to figure out what's going out and what's coming in. Because you can say you want to be a millionaire by December 2024, but what are we working with? What's going out? What's coming in? How much expenses do we have? Now you can guess, and you might be off by $1,000, but by being off by $1,000 or $500, really, really has a huge effect on whether or not your goals are going to be realistic or not. So understand this before we get to that Excel sheet. Understand this. There's a phrase that people say, out of sight, out of mind. Or some people say, what you don't know can't hurt you. Well, in the financial world, what you don't know can and will hurt you. Just like the law says can and will be used against you. Well, what you don't know in the financial world can and definitely will hurt you, whether you know it or not, whether you feel the effects of it or not. Oh, it's going to get you. It's going to come back to bite you and it'll have an effect. For example, if you don't know about inflation, if you don't know that the cost of living, the cost of goods, services are all going to continue to rise over a period of time for certain reasons, based on the effectiveness of the government maintaining and managing its finances. There's a lot of details in there, so read between the lines. The cost of living is going to keep going up. And if you are not prepared for that or making adjustments, then the power of your dollar is going to continue to decrease. So if you never heard about inflation and you didn't know about inflation, then you understand that what you don't know is going to, can and will hurt you in the long run. And so I'm excited to discuss this Excel sheet with you today. I can give other examples about what you don't know can and will hurt you. For example, you all keep hearing me scream about high yield interest savings account and how we have to put our extra savings and money in these high yield interest savings account because we are throwing away money. I was helping out a client earlier this week, and they had their funds in a regular savings account and it was making less than 1% interest. And of course, it's more than one client because many people don't know about the high yield savings accounts. And so, but this one client in particular, I really wanted to help them out because they had great potential to reach their financial goals. And one of the things that was going to help them was transitioning their money from a regular savings account to this high yield savings account. Let me drink some water. So she wasn't quite sure or really informed in detail about it and the simplicity of it. And what we found was where her funds currently were at, she might make $7, $5 to $7 a month. But if she moved it to a high yield interest savings account, it was going to be at least $190 plus a month. So if you leave it where it's at, you make $7, but if you move it, you make $190. That's a lot of money being thrown away every month. And think about this. What if those funds have been sitting there for 3 or 4 years? How much money was missed out, or what I call being thrown away, that it had potential to make? And then think about the compound interest of it all. My point is, what you don't know can and will hurt you in the financial world. Now, when we talk about using Excel sheet to budget, one of the important things that you have to do, team, community, one of the important things we have to do before we start throwing numbers on that Excel sheet, if you really want to be effective with this and master your budget and use that Excel sheet to your best ability, I always tell everyone, pull up bank statements, pull up your credit card statements, If you still have your ATM receipts of how much money you pulled out the ATM, bring all of that to the table. So when you're trying to master your budget, we want to bring all of those documents to the table, and you can look at them online or you can actually print them off. Like you can print them off. That way you'll have these papers where you can mark things off, check it off, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. And so when you have access to all of those documents, that shows, especially if you used your debit card throughout the month, if you used a credit card throughout the month, if you use cash, then that, of course, that ATM withdrawal or however you got the money, now you're going to have to really remember where you put what dollars at and what you spend it on, because it may not be a digital record of it. So keep that in mind if you used a lot of cash to buy certain things that, of course, you can't print something off. Now, you might have receipts from purchases, and that may help as well. What is my point? When we get to this Excel sheet and you start using it, we want to pull all documents because it's going to help big time as you begin to find out your numbers. And once again, some people may use an app and it's even easier. It might work out better for them depending on what app you're using. And of course, I'm a little old school and I like using this Excel sheet. And so we're definitely going to dive into that as well. But make sure that you are getting all your documents together. And those documents should also show you, what your income is as well. So if you're using those bank statements, we should see that. And so what I'm going to do is, oh, also, one other thing I want you to remember, if you did any donations, if you did any giving, whether it's charitable giving, whether you dropped money to someone down the street that you saw and you gave them money, make sure we keep that in mind as well when we document what we had coming in and going out. If you dropped money in the offering at church and it was in dollars and you didn't write a check or something like that, so it may not show up on the bank statements, make sure you keep all of that in mind as well. And what we want to do is we want to practice budgeting in advance. We want to practice budgeting and having our numbers and information written down before we make financial moves and decisions. Our budget is going to help dictate and be able to predict what we are capable of financially. Oh, I like the way that sounds. My budget helps determine, dictates, helps me decide what financial decisions I'm going to make right now and also in the short-term future and in the long-term future. Yes. And so I can be proactive financially. So let's dive into this sheet and see what it looks like. Let's see what we have here. Screen share. All right. Let's see. I'm going to enlarge this just a little. Hopefully everyone can see this. Can everyone see it well? If you can, just give me a thumbs up or put something in the chat. Let me know, okay, I see it. And so let's see here. When we look at this personal budget sheet, and I've used this sheet for years, one thing that I love about this, let's see here, is it says January all the way to December. I love that because I can see my budget all on one sheet, all in one location for the whole year on one page. January to December. So that's one thing I want you to notice is that you can see all your information laid out. Now, once again, you may decide to use an app. You may decide to use something else to keep up with everything. But as I scroll through here, of course, when you look, and let me make it a little bit larger. Let's see. When you scroll through here, far as income, we see wages, tips, dividends. Of course, y'all know I have dividend stocks. If you're interested in learning about dividend stocks, then definitely go to my YouTube channel and look for that video on dividend stocks. Getting ready to make another updated video on dividend stocks so that I can show you the progress that my dividend portfolio is making. So we see income area here where you can write in your income. Now, up here at the top, it says starting balance. So just keep that in mind that you can start this with the starting balance of whatever money that you had when you got ready to do your budget. Let's see if I were to write 500 here. All right. So next, let's go a little bit further. Of course, when I write 500 here for January, it shows up all the way over here on the far right as total. And another thing I like about this budget, when you do January through December, it's going to give you the monthly average. So if every month, let's say one month you make 500, another month you make 1,000, in March your total income is 4,000. $50, just to throwing in some numbers here so you can see an example. Every time, every month you go through this, when you scroll over to the far right, you're going to get your total net income that you made for the month. I'm sorry, for the year. And you're going to get your yearly average as well. So that's why I like this, because using this sheet, you get to see your averages. You get to see all of these good estimates. So now you'll really learn how to master your budget. So, of course, if you can do that with your income, if you have investments, if you're getting dividends, you can see what your monthly average is because you've kept record of it. And so as we go through this, of course, you see now we get down to expenses. And so we want to be able to keep up with our monthly expenses. And it starts, of course, right here with rent, mortgage. Of course, the average person, honestly, in America, the average rent right now is around $1,800. Depending on where you are located in your city, it might be a little bit different. Of course, this person, if they're paying mortgage/rent, then you might have rental insurance monthly or whatever that amount may be. Your electric bill, gas, oil, water, all of that good stuff. You can plug all of that in here. And as I'm plugging it in here, of course, you see these numbers change as well because it says my total income is 3,000. Let's see if I change that to, hopefully I don't mess up a formula here. But I may have, let's see. Yeah, on that one I may have. Let's see. On this one, it's not messed up. So we're going to go to February. So bear with me. So in February, let's say someone makes $4,000. And let's see here. If you made $4,000, and that's one expense we already have in there, then their mortgage, let me change this. Their mortgage is about, or their rent is about $1,800. They have insurance. They have electric bill, water bill. Put some zeros here so y'all can lock in February. And then you have a cell phone bill, whatever that amount may be, cable, and you all kind of get it. You may have lawn and garden. That's why I like this. It's very detailed. And let's say there's something on here that you have that, but it's not an option on here, then just keep in mind you can switch these over here to whatever it needs to be. Whether, let's say, it's some type of hobby that is an expense, then you just write in hobby over here. And of course, we're on February, and your hobby may cost you $30 a month. As we scroll down, you see transportation. There's an area section for transportation. Your monthly vehicle payment might be $1,000. Auto insurance. What is your monthly auto insurance? You may pay $80 a month. How much you spend on fuel? Well, the price is rising. And of course, another thing you can do, let's say you don't have any repairs or issues or problems with your vehicle. If you want to budget and you're taking $25 a month to set to the side, and the reason why you're doing that is probably preparing if you have to get oil changes or basic repairs. You already want to have the money set to the side for that so you don't get caught off guard. Put that in there as well. Registration, license, there's another other. So there may be something else. You may be a part of a club. And so let's say you're part of a car club and you have monthly dues or something, or it costs to travel. You'll put that in there as well. Of course, they have the health section as well. So we have health insurance, medicine, drugs. You never know, you might have to go buy some Tylenol every month or something. You'll write that in there. All pets. How many people have pets? And how much do pets cost? Going to the vet, things like that. So that may be a monthly expense as well. Pet care, having them groomed. Charitable giving. So if that person, let's say they make $4,000 a month and they like to give 10%, charitable giving might be $400. So you can go through all of that. You may give to another situation or organization. You can write in other right there. So we're still in February. Groceries. How much do we spend on groceries a month? My goodness. And so what if it's about $1,000 a month? For some people, it's a little more. Some people, a little less. Clothing, cleaning, education, dining out. How much money do we spend on dining out? That's not cheap. And oh my goodness, women, how much do we spend on the salon a month? Like what's that costing? What does your monthly salon expenses look like? Men, the barber, how much does that cost for a month? And so we have to think about that and put that in as well. So every little thing, pet food, other things that you would probably normally forget about that you need to write in, you can write in all of these. Then we have movies, entertainment, concerts, sports. Do you go to games? And what ends up happening is you write all of that stuff in. Are we putting anything in savings? Does anything go to our retirement, our 401k plans, investing? Are we putting money away for a rainy day emergency fund? Look at all of these beautiful things and plans that you can come up with and use to your advantage. We're in February right now. As you go through this and use this Excel sheet, we're talking about Excel sheet budgeting strategies and what you can use this for. We have debts down here where we can write in what we pay for our debts, our expenses. Are there credit card payments? What are your minimum monthly credit card payments? Do you have to pay $250 a month in minimum credit cards? Is it $150? What are those monthly expenses? Student loans, child support, alimony, all of those things. There's another other. Do you have subscriptions? Okay, you know what? This was made a while back before Netflix and Hulu and whatever else. So Netflix, it might be $15 a month. All of your subscriptions you can write in here. Now, as we keep writing all of this stuff in here, you're going to notice up here at the top, total income, the person makes $4,000 a month. But total expenses, when we get those documents, when we get our paperwork together, when we get and print off those bank statements, credit card statements, ATM machines, and we find out our cash that we have in hand, where it goes, now we're finding out that this person right now, before we even finish adding everything up or subtracting, their expenses are about $5,510 a month. Miscellaneous, if there's other things. And then so as you see, this Excel sheet really allows you to document and write down everything. So when it comes to using this sheet, and we're back here up at the top where we write in our wages and tips and income, this person, it shows that there's a disparity. There's a difference of $1,510 that they are off on their budget. So when we're trying to figure out why don't I have enough money left over at the end of the month? Why am I paycheck to paycheck? Ladies and gentlemen, if you practice good budgeting habits, if you are willing to write down and document where your money went, what came in and what is going out, and you're able to use an Excel sheet in this process, you can visually see where your money is going. You can visually see what is costing you and what problems you're having. Also, another beautiful thing that I like about this sheet, whatever negative or positive from the previous month. If we look at January right here, we were total expenses that we have for January, we were in the red in January. So we're negative $410 in January, right? We can see that. So if you're negative $410 in January, I wonder if I can make this a little bit bigger. Let's see. Maybe that'll help. Let's see what that looks like. If we're negative $410 in January, then that has an effect on February's cash flow and whether we are in the red in February or whether we are green. So now when we look at this and we take a deeper dive, yes, the individual, 4,000 coming in, $5,510 was spent. Net, we are negative 1510, but projected in balance says negative $1,920. That is because negative 410 plus negative $1,510, we are negative $1,920. So that's from January. Now, of course, if that wasn't there, then we're still short 1510. So when you look at this and you're able to write it down and see it, you can find out why you don't have enough money at the end of the month while you're living paycheck to paycheck. Now you're saying if the person only had 4,000, I know, here's your question. If the person has $4,000, how can they be negative $1,510 because they didn't have the 1510 to spend? Well, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, in America, when we do not have enough money, we go grab credit cards. We go borrow money. We get loans. And because of that, it allows us to be negative. And so most people set their budget based off of their income and their access to credit cards. And we shouldn't do that. When you set your budget and you figure out how you're going to purchase things throughout the month, we should do it based off of our income. And I want to take a deeper dive when I talk about based off of your income. So some people are saying, well, I have $1,000 worth of room on my credit card. So now I don't only have $4,000, but now I have 5,000 because I got space on my credit card to pay for the rest. That type of thinking digs a deeper hole financially, and it's harder to get out of because more things are going to continue to happen. And so if we use this Excel sheet budgeting strategies, it'll help us get out of that mess and figure out where the problem is, and most importantly, where you can make adjustments. So there's some people, they have income, and I want to talk about the different ways that we do have income and out and money that comes in, and the importance of diversifying how you have cash flow and how you have income coming in, how you make money. I'll deal with that later when we get off of this Excel sheet. But let's say you have a job and every once in a while they give you overtime. Sometimes, most of the time they do, but sometimes they don't. Well, if my income fluctuates, what I would do, I would look at my total income. And the thing I would like, once again, that I said I like about this sheet is, and hopefully I can get to it properly, it can give you a monthly average. So it will give you the total average for the month. Let me see if I can make this smaller to get to that. Let's see. So you'll see over here, it will give you the annual total, and then it'll give you your monthly average for the year. As you continue to use this sheet and you're putting in your income of what you make every month, for the year, it'll give you an average. And then you'll know, let's say if your income fluctuates, on average, when I fill out my budget, I can expect this amount. And that'll keep you level. If you do make money, like if you do make overtime, then you could just go with the base amount and not count overtime, just in case your job decides not to give overtime, or if you can't do it or whatever, they cut your hours or something like that. So keep that in mind. So you can find out your average or just go with the base amount. Some people make bonuses. You have potential to make bonuses every month or commission. You can go at the base amount or go on the average of those bonuses when you're trying to put that amount in here. So as we made it to this point, and I'll deal with the sheet a little bit longer and then we're going to go to something else. Does anybody have any questions about the Excel budget sheet? And once again, as I mentioned earlier, if you want a copy of this, you'll see down there in the ticker, the caption that's moving, you'll see my email address, coachsteelfinance@gmail. Shoot me an email, coachsteelfinance@gmail, and I will email you a copy of this Excel sheet. If you want to use it, you don't have to. You may have a good app that you use as well. But so when I get back to the fact that, and let me supersize this again. So when I enlarge this and we go back to February, and we see that this individual is negative $1,510. Now in your budget, you can go back and look and say, okay, my mortgage is $1,800 a month. There's not really much I can do about that. No problem at all, Anitra. Yeah, shoot me an email and I'll get it to you. So there's not much you can do about that. There would have to be some drastic changes that you do to change your mortgage or your rent. You may most likely have to move and downsize. So that's one thing the person can do to get out of that negative 1510. So that's one thing. They could call the insurance company and see if they can get their insurance monthly payment reduced. Electricity, okay. They might decide I'm going to do a better job of cutting the lights off and being more aware and just using the window, use God's light, and reduce that. And so maybe that'll save them an extra $10 a month. So now instead of being negative 1510, they're down negative 15, they're negative $1,500. Same thing, water and sewage. Maybe not be as wasteful with the water. They save themselves another $10. So now that's down to 90. And of course, as you see, when you continue to improve the next month as you go into March and you're improving these numbers, you can bring your budget back into balance. You can bring your budget back to a healthy place to where you are in the green. That's where we want to be. We want to be in the green. We do not want to be in the red. Red is not fun. So what else can this individual do? Of course, they can stop using the credit card as much, and that will definitely help. And let's see, cable. Well, y'all already know how I feel. I already told y'all, like, I'm a little more of an extremist. If I have debt and it is climbing and it's putting me deeper into a hole, then I'm a little more extremist. I'm going to get rid of whatever is costing me. If something is going to cost me my life, then I don't want it attached to me anymore. So it's got to go. And if this is going to cost you your financial life, then it's got to go. I don't want TV or cable more than I want to be financially free. Like if I had to pick, I'm going to pick financial freedom over my favorite TV show. And so if I had a situation here where cable had a certain, I would eliminate it completely. Phone, I'm probably calling Cricket and seeing if I can get a $20 line. So instead of 150, I'm dropping down to whatever place, whatever service provider can give me a line for as low as possible. And if anybody needs to call me or reach out to me, then you're going to have to reach out to me on that other device. I don't care about what the device does. I need to get out of this negative place. So now we're down negative 1360. Well, let's see what else. Hobbies. My hobbies just stopped. I'm going to go walk in the park for free. I don't want my hobby anymore. My hobby is not that valuable to me to where I got to go negative. My hobby's not that valuable to me to where I have to lose my house or they have to go come get my car because I can't make the payments. So it's not as bad. It is improving. Vehicle payments. Oh my goodness. This is part of the problem right here. Why do I have $1,000 vehicle payment? And if you look at this, and I teach on this, when you all get a chance, go back and watch the YouTube video that I made about the 50, 30, 20 budget rule. 50, 30, 20 budget rule. It says that 50% of your income should be spent and used on your needs. When we look at this, things that this person needs and they have to have, we already know that their monthly mortgage slash rent is $1,800. And we also know that their, let me make sure my connection is good. Let me do a sound check real quick. Okay, we are good. It said it was trying to connect, so we're good. All right. So also, their vehicle payment is $1,000. That is $2,800. If their total income is $4,000, 50% of that, according to the 50, 30, 20 budget rule, should 50% of that should only be $2,000. So the problem now with this person is, and once again, remember 50, 30, 20 rule. It's not that you have to be there immediately. It's a goal that you want to get to because it keeps you safe and it gives you good parameters to work with. It's just a blueprint. This person is already $2,800 just on the vehicle and the mortgage slash rent. So they're well beyond the 50%, which is why they're also having this problem of negativity. So in this case, yes, I would probably go extreme if I could sell that car, if I could downsize, whatever I had to do, because if I don't, I'm going to lose it anyway. So you have to be creative and proactive to get rid of things on your own terms. Does that sound good? Get rid of things on your own terms as opposed to the hand being forced until you're forcing some financial institution's hand to where they have to come take, where they have to make the decision. When I'm budgeting, I want to make the decision of what I'm removing myself from or disconnecting from. And then remember, all of this is temporary because then later on I can come back and get it. So whatever I have to do, some people refinance to get a better, lower payment. Some people will sell the car, downsize, find a better deal, whatever it is. I'm going to do that. And so when we look at this situation, maybe whatever adjustment they make, they go from 1,000 to maybe only a vehicle expense is 300 a month. And so from that, now this person is negative $630. I would rather be negative 630 than to be negative 1510. Because if I'm down $1,510, I know it's going to carry over the next month and it's collecting interest on that credit card or loan or wherever it is. It's growing. So I'd rather 630 grow than the 1510 to grow, especially when I owe. So when we look at this, it's possible to improve the situation by making adjustments, but you can only make these financial adjustments if we get the documents, if we get the bank statements, if we get the credit cards, if we get the ATM withdrawals, if we find out where the money went so that we can make the proper adjustments in our financial situation. So now we reduce that. Auto insurance may or may not be able to make adjustments there. Fuel. When I get home, I'm cutting the car off. I'm not listening to my favorite song anymore. And I'm not traveling as much because I'm negative 630. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to fix this problem. So I'm limiting how much I go. Now, you still have to go back and forth to work or whatever, but maybe I can limit and cancel out about $30 to $40 worth of. So instead of 200, maybe I only spend 170. Maybe I find a creative way to save myself a tank of gas by not ripping and running so much. So that's 170. So now we're down 600. Right now, I can't put the extra money to the side for repairs because I need to get rid of this debt. I need to pay this down. I'm still negative $600. So now I'm not going to sit that off to the side every month. I have an expense. Now I'm 575. So as you see, some things you can change, some things you can't. I'm not going to tell you to go without medicine. Do I have to get rid of the pet? Maybe. So you got to do what you have to do so that you can have financial success. And if I have to make a decision, do I keep the pet or do I keep the car in the house? You have to decide there. Gifts given, charitable giving, that may be something you decide to continue to do. It may be something you decide to stop. But a lot of people, if you do have certain spiritual beliefs, you believe you're supposed to give 10%. no matter what. So you may decide to leave that. Now, groceries, my goodness. Guess what? Now I may have to coupon. Now I may not be able to buy the name brand detergent. I may not be able to buy the name brand orange juice. Now I might need to go with a friend to Sam's Club instead of going to some other place. All of those adjustments that I'm going to make, I'm going to buckle down and be extremely strict on my finances when it comes to going to the grocery store. And when I do that, because I'm spending $1,000 a month at the grocery store, what I'm going to have to do at this point is I might not eat as much. What's the worst thing going to happen? I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to exercise. And so I'll get healthy because I'm still going to eat every day, but I'm not going to eat as much and I'm not going to spend so much at the grocery store. So I'm going to go from $1,000 a month to probably about $750. So now that saves me an extra $250 a month on groceries. So now I'm negative 325. All of this is realistic and possible. Next, I'm not even eating out. That's out of the question. Not happening. I'm done with that. And who knows? When it comes to getting your hair done, you might have to go natural. You might have to make certain adjustments. I know that's like taboo for some people, but I may have to make some adjustments there as well. But now at this point, I'm negative 125. And so it's not as bad. It's realistic. It's doable. I might be able to work some extra hours. I might be able to put in more time. The movies, out of the question, not doing it. Why? Because I want to be debt free. I want to be able to reach my financial goals. I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck and still being in the negative. So that's something that I have to get out of there. The credit card debt, I'm going to quit using that credit card debt. Going to quit using that credit card. So now my monthly payments, my monthly minimum payments are going to decrease because I'm going to pay it down and I'm going to quit adding more debt to it. And by that, let's say I reduce that minimum monthly payment on that credit card by $50. I quit using it and adding more debt to it. And now maybe that minimum monthly payment is $100. Now I can breathe. I'm up $25. I'm up $25. And I know at the end of every month from my adjustments, I'm going to have an extra $25 a month. So I can project and predict that by the end of March, I'm going to have an extra $50. And so as you use this Excel sheet to budget and be creative in your strategies, you can start making more creative adjustments. I'm going to take that $25, put it in a high yield interest savings account, out of sight, out of mind. Or I'm going to take that $25. And if you're going to do that, oh yeah, we're getting rid of Netflix too. It's got to go. Netflix has to go. I'm up $40. Yeah, we're cash flowing now. We are cash flowing. We are making money, ladies and gentlemen. And so when it comes to investing, I thought we had an investment section. Here we go. For savings, now I have $40. I can put a certain amount in my IRA. I can put some into my savings account. I can build up my emergency fund because now let me take that $40. Boom. All of my dollars are accounted for. I know where everything's going and I will end the month in the positive. And you just continue to do that every single month to improve your situation using this Excel sheet, budgeting for your using strategies to budget. And that's just the basics. As you do this every month, once again, like I mentioned, over here, you're going to get your total for the year on each section. So you'll know by doing this, you'll know how much money you gave Walmart and Food Lion and Target and Costco and Sam's Club. You'll know how much money you gave them at the end of the year. Every year, you'll know how much money you gave them every month and total at the year. And it's interesting because you'll say, wow, I spent $20,000 at the grocery store. $20,000 at the grocery store for the year, and you'll know your average. So if we look at, of course, 20,000 divided by 12, that's $1,667 a month at the grocery store. So it helps you project. It helps you figure out what you're going to do next year and how you're going to make adjustments. So you don't have to figure out where you're going to be 5 years from now. No, you'll know. You'll know for a fact, I will have enough money to buy that new house. I'll have enough money for my down payment on this property. And I'll be creative with doing my research and how to build up my income as well in the process. So if I'm short, okay, I know my job. All right, I need an extra $50 a week. How can I get that? Do I need to find a second job? Do I need to find another way to make money? So I'm going to leave the Excel sheet alone. I think we've done enough on it. Unless someone has any questions about the Excel sheet, you pretty much see that you can use this sheet to help you identify where your money's going, be able to track it with real numbers, be able to get monthly averages, being able to keep up with the yearly averages and the total amounts. Once again, if you do need a copy, if you look down there in the ticker or whatever it's called, you'll see my email address, coachsteelfinance@gmail. Let me stop sharing. And so when it comes to your income, if you see that your expenses are high and you no longer want to have to use a credit card in your budget, understand that there's different ways that you can bring in money, and you have to be creative and you have to be proactive. And of course, one of the principles and things that I like that Robert Kiyosaki teaches is the quadrants, the cash flow quadrant. Of course, in his quadrant, there's 4 sections. And of course, up here at the top, he says people fall into 4 different categories when it comes to making money. And of course, at the top, the E, it stands for employees. And so most people, he says, a majority of people are in that employee category. They work a 9 to 5 or whatever that those hours are for you. And then next category on this side of the quadrant is self-employed, or what they also call small business. And so most people are on the left side of this quadrant. And so he talks about being on the left side of the quadrant, and there's, pros and cons. Of course, Robert Kiyosaki isn't a huge fan of the left side of the quadrant. And then over here on the right side of the quadrant, the B, it stands for business, big business. And of course, the I, it stands for investors. And so he believes that you should be on the right side of the quadrant for a number of reasons. And of course, there's also benefits to having your own business. I know someone pretty well. His name is Dejan Tanay, and he does have a book out that talks about benefits of starting a small business. And so if you want to learn different benefits about starting a small business, definitely grab his book. If you need that information, definitely shoot me an email. Right there, you see down at the bottom, it's available. Shoot me an email if you need that information or the Excel sheet, and I will get that information over to you. Also, so when you look at the 4 quadrants, whether you are an employee or whether you are self-employed or whether you're over the big business side or you're an investor, Robert Kiyosaki says get to the right side because of the benefits. Of course, one of the major benefits is you're allowing your money to work for you, and there's a lot of tax write-offs. And whenever you have tons of tax write-offs, you decrease the amount of money that Uncle Sam, the government, can take from you, and you are able to keep it in your pocket, which allows you to invest more and grow more even faster, while someone else is busy giving their money away to the government as a charitable donation. Investors and people who own big businesses are getting tons of tax write-offs. So if you ever listen to those political conversations and they're saying, well, the wealthy should be taxed more and they have all these tax breaks, once again, that's why Robert Kiyosaki is saying get on the right side. So my point to you all is that that person in our demonstration that is only making $4,000 a month at their 9 to 5, they need to find a way to get in one of these other quadrants to bring in more cash flow to benefit them and to have more tax write-offs. And so now they're not living month to month, paycheck to paycheck. It is important. It is vital that we know where our money is going, guys. One thing I'm always going to talk about is budgeting, being creative with budgeting, whether you're writing it down on a piece of paper, whether we're putting it on an Excel sheet, or whether you are using an app. and you're looking at it in a digital space to keep up with your flow. You have to understand the importance of it, and you have to be willing to do a deep scrub. And lastly, the last few things I'll tell you is, when I say do a deep scrub, some people might be extreme. Every month they might go through all their expenses and take a deep dive to figure out how much they're paying this person. Can they find a discount? Can they find a way to save money on their insurance or on their um, groceries and different items like that? And so I'd say, and what I normally do is I'll do a deep scrub like quarterly, because I always look at my budget pretty decent, but I do a deep scrub, I would say quarterly, at least 4 times a year. I like to double check everything. I like to call phone companies and all these service providers and make sure that I'm getting the best deal possible. So just keep that in mind. And there's nothing wrong with checking your budget every day. If you're just new to budgeting and checking your budget, it's nothing wrong with going through this budget and checking all of this every single day. That's what I used to do. I used to make sure what I had coming in and going out. Look at the bank statement. Did something new process? If it did, I went to my Excel sheet, added it to that column, kept the numbers running, and I was flying. I was reaching my goals so fast because I learned to track and keep up with my money. There's other things we can dive into, like the envelope system that you can use and benefits you as well, but we'll talk about that another day. So when you know your numbers, you can plan and predict. When you know your numbers, you can plan and predict better, and it allows you to be confident. And that's what I want to leave you with. If you learn to budget properly, you will learn to be extremely confident in what you can accomplish, because you have these different goals. And so you're not going to be confident in your goals if you don't know your numbers. You're not going to be confident in eliminating that mountain of debt if you don't know what you have coming in and going out. But once you know, you can be confident in, I can attack this debt. I can get rid of this debt using this Excel sheet. I can attack this debt because I know what I have coming in and going out. I confidently know and have annotated and logged it in on this document or on this app to know for a fact that at the end of every month, I have this left over after paying every bills. It's no longer guesstimating or trying to estimate. It's factual. And based off those facts, you can predict and plan that you will eliminate that debt. That's why it's important for us to do this. And not just debt. Let's say you don't have any debt. That confidence translates and transfers over to when you're trying to grow your financial empire, whether you're trying to build generational wealth. That confidence transitions over to not only eliminating debt, but when it comes to investing. So when I paid off my mortgage, my 30-year mortgage in 3 years and 7 months, and if you want to know information about that, once again, shoot it over to that email, coachsteelfinance@gmail. If you want to learn how to pay your mortgage off at an accelerated rate. Now, I'm not saying you'll be able to do it in 3 years and 7 months. It might take you 5 years. It might take 5 to 7 years. Whatever your projections are, it may take that. But anything's better than 30 years being charged interest on a 30-year loan. You know you're going to end up paying for that house at least, maybe twice, maybe a little bit more. So I have a video about that on YouTube, so you can watch that video and it breaks it all down for you. So it's all factual and numbers. So my point to you is, knowing your numbers gives you the confidence to be a more confident and stronger investor. And so for me, being able to eliminate all debt when an investment opportunity comes, and because I know my budget, I can confidently say, hey, I'm in on this. Hey, I'm going to do this amount, and I'm going to do my numbers and my projections. But what happens if an investment doesn't go well? Well, I've done my numbers, so I know what I'm comfortable and what I can afford to lose in on that investment. And it doesn't stop me from eating or taking care of my family and paying bills or expenses. So when you properly budget and you're able to eliminate debt and you're in a place of financial freedom, you can be even more riskier when it comes to investing. And sometimes, yes, the higher the risk, the greater the reward. And sometimes you can risk and not make as much, but what you want to do is make more than you lose. And so you can be very calculated with that through budgeting and knowing your numbers. So if you want to build up your confidence financially with eliminating debt or growing your money, then start budgeting better, especially if you have a business. Because if you have a business and you're trying to expand and grow your business, or eventually you want to hire people, you definitely need to know the books. You need to know what's coming in and going out. All of this will help each and every person be very realistic about your numbers. Once again, I appreciate every single person for tuning in. I enjoyed this subject today. I love talking about budgeting because once we get the budget fixed, we can actually help people. Once we get the budget fixed and we know what you have coming in and going out, then it makes solving the rest of the financial puzzle so much easier. I appreciate you tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Training. Every person that tunes in, make sure you share this. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Coach Steele's Finance Training on YouTube. I'm live every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. But once you dive into the YouTube channel, you're going to see there's a catalog, a library of information and other educational videos in there. We have a lot of great interviews coming up as well. I'm excited about the diversity of interviews that we're going to present to this team, to this audience. I appreciate you tuning in. Coach Steele's Finance Training, the financial voice of the people. And if you don't know why, then you probably need to go ask somebody. We're helping people get out of debt. We're showing people how to walk in debt freedom consistently. We're constantly helping clients out every single week. This is such an awesome opportunity to change and transition the trajectory of your life personally and of your family's life. You can do it. Don't think that it's too late or the opportunity has passed by for you to accomplish your goals. My situation was not the best in the world. How I was raised, how I came up, my level of financial literacy was not the best in the world. But guess what? I educated myself. I allowed myself to be mentored. I allowed myself to be coached. And I was able to be guided to a place of success financially. And you can too. Work with what you have. What you have is potentially more than enough to help you get to where you're trying to go. Appreciate each and every person for tuning in and look forward to talking to you next Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time Zone. But in the meantime, go to my YouTube channel and absorb all of that content. Thank you and have a blessed